Hi, everyone. Welcome to Show and Tell for the month of June. I'm going to be your host today, Michael Fisher, VP of Menswear. If this is your first time joining us for our monthly webinar, welcome. We do this the first Wednesday of every month. It's just a chance for some of our global team to come together, share some things that are currently inspiring us, and hopefully will inspire you as well. If you have missed any of our previous show and tells and you'd like to catch up, they're always available to you on our Fashion Snoops YouTube channel. You can also find them if you're a subscriber on the webcast section of our website. Also, we will be following up with you later this week with a document with all of the links the team's going to be sharing today. So don't feel that you need to write everything down as we go. Before we jump into the webinar today, just a few housekeeping issues. As always, we love to hear what you're thinking as we go through the links. Let us know what you love. If you have any questions, things that you're seeing as well, please just be sure to use the chat box and choose everyone so that everyone attending the webinar today can see your comment or your question. Before we jump into the links, I'm going to just turn it over to Ellie from our marketing team to go over some upcoming events that our team is doing globally. Hi, Ellie.
Hi, Michael. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. So before we jump into this month's show and tell, I just wanted to give you a brief update about two of our upcoming events that we're super excited about. So tomorrow we're organizing our first in-person event in Paris. We'll be holding it at Safe Urban Concept in the Marais. And we've split the day into 3 sessions of trend presentations. So the first session will be on what's next in fashion, the second one on the future of home and lifestyle, and lastly, the third session on the future of wellness. The presentations during this day will be in French, which is a good detail to know about, and we'll serve some lovely French pastries and coffee, and our team will, of course, be available to discuss and answer your questions for the upcoming seasons. If you're in Paris this week and interested in attending, feel free to get in touch with me via email at eleanor@fashionsnoops.com. And if you happen to be in London next week, on Tuesday, the 13th of June, we're organizing our second London event, where our industry experts will be presenting the future of color and materials for SS25. This event will be held in the morning, so we'll be serving breakfast. There will be a Q&A and the possibility to pre-book appointments with our experts. I'm happy to see that the interest for this event was so great that it's already sold out. But for those of you who weren't able to sign up, if you're still interested in attending, you can reach out to me to be placed on a waiting list, and make sure to keep an eye out for our future events. We hope to see you all there very soon. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Michael.
Thank you, Ellie. I'm just going to stop share for 1 second so I can get our links for today. We have a good amount of sharers today, so we're really excited. And I think we are going to kick it off with Nico.
Hey everyone, Nico here from the Culture team. And my first link that I want to share today is a movie trailer for a new film that I don't know if there's a date yet for its theatrical release, but it's coming soon. It's called Problemista. And this is the directorial debut of Julio Torres, who is a Salvadorian American comedian. And he's written a lot for SNL. And he has a really awesome comedy special on HBO called My Favorite Shapes. He's really well known for his like kind of absurdist, surreal comedy style. And he has these elaborate set designs and costumes that he wears when he's doing his stand-up. So he's like kind of like a Lady Gaga of comedy in a way. It's the first time I thought of that, but I feel like it's kind of true. So I'll let you all see the trailer for the movie.
All right, give me 1 second.
This is the story of Alejandro. His mother gave him everything, but she had a recurring dream of Alejandro leaving the safe world she created, where he'd face the dangers she tried so hard to keep him from.
Lo siento, señora Fuentes, pero Inmigración decidió no considerar la aplicación. Alejandro Martinez.
Yes, hi, it's me.
Mr. Khalil's ready for you.
Thank you.
Okay, look, you don't have a while. You have a month to find someone to co-sign your visa. And if you don't, you have to leave the U.S.
I started freelancing for this lady.
I'm late. I know I'm late. I'm so late. Oh, this menu. What is it with walnuts? Walnuts, walnuts, walnuts. It's like a cafe for squirrels.
Walnuts, they go very nicely with the salad.
Do I look like I need educating on fine cuisine?
You think this lady can sponsor you?
I mean, we'll see.
We'll see. Oh.
Is this your dream, making toys?
Yeah.
Help me curate an exhibition, and I'll sponsor you.
Other thing is, you can't take money right now.
He must find a sponsor and pay fees to earn money. The maze is impossible to navigate.
Wait, I mean, this sucks so much for you.
I'm barely keeping afloat.
Your boss is a monster.
I need to get paid.
She's the Hydra.
It's such a nightmare.
None of those options. Human being.
Elizabeth, let me talk.
I question if you are ready for this job.
Why are you making everything so difficult?
You don't know what it is to really want something, to be on a mission, journeying into the unknown.
It sounds brave.
It's so simple, Alejandro. This is it. The sky's the limit. Oh, El Salvador. Pupusas.
Yes,
And those nuns they killed in the 80s.
right. So,
So that was the trailer. As you can
Nico,
see,
I wanted to also say, like,
Go ahead.
it's a really cool children's book too that Jason on our team gave us when we had our son. But it's really fun. It's called "I Want to Be a Vase." So it's really colorful and really trippy, but it's a super cool book as well.
yeah, I forgot about that. That's really cool as well. I saw him. So the movie, essentially, you probably got it from the trailer, but it's about Alejandro, his dreams to be a toy inventor. He's trying to secure his green card. So he's working for this gallerist that's played by Tilda Swinton. And she's like really difficult to work with. And she's going to sponsor him to get his green card. I saw him speak at South by Southwest, where the world premiere took place in April. I really resonated with what he said the film was really about. So in short, he says that the movie is about the frustration and confusion that people experience dealing with the labyrinth of paperwork and bureaucracy that comes with living in modern times. So for Julio's character, this is navigating the US immigration system and trying to get a green card. Speaking for myself, I get a massive headache just from like trying to deal with insurance people, trying to get like a copay down between my insurance, the pharmacy, the doctor, etc. For others, it may be securing government assistance or housing, etc. These are things that we need to live, and they're just so insanely complicated to secure.
So true.
So my next link is an article from, I think it's the New Yorker. Yeah. So I read this about a month or two ago, and the ideas that were presented in this article really stuck with me. Particularly, they talk about how AI is creating all of these new kind of aesthetic concepts. So first they talk about how there's this artist that made this Harry Potter x Balenciaga campaign. They talk about how there's that whole controversy with the Pope wearing I think it was also a Balenciaga jacket, which was totally fake, but everyone believed it because it was so photographically realistic. But the specific concept that is talked about in this article that really stuck with me is this idea called aesthetic accelerationism. So this isn't a phrase that was described by David Holes in a 2022 interview. And Holes is the founder of Midjourney, which is kind of the main and most realistic AI image generator. And he uses aesthetic accelerationism, and I'm going to quote the article, to describe the profusion of generated imagery enabled by public AI tools. It evokes a world in which every style, every idea, and every possible remix is generated as fast and as frictionlessly as possible. And the successful ones stick and get attention, like Harry Potter by Balenciaga and the Swagged Out Pope. It may be less because they are artistically great than because they solve some formula of attention. Perhaps the successful creation is unimaginably bizarre, the seamless merging of two unrelated things. Or it's driven by the fascination of the perfect replica, something that we know isn't real, but which is easy to see briefly perceived as such, like a Trompe l'oeil painting. So this idea of aesthetic accelerationism really informed actually one of our spring-summer 2025 cultural sentiments, which we named trend agnostic. And in that, we say that this increasingly fluid lifestyles and this onslaught of online aesthetic inspiration is leading consumers to take a more agnostic approach to trend adoption by defying traditional markers of style, gender, age, and season. So there's also a lot of really interesting things happening in pop culture that I think also reflect this idea of aesthetic accelerationism, where we're merging two seemingly unrelated aesthetics or cultural products. So Michael, I actually added a couple image examples. They're linked to the X's next to, yeah, exactly. So the first example of aesthetic accelerationism that I saw, or that I felt like reflected this idea, was this artist who got the Mischief Astro boots and combined them with the Timberland boot to give this kind of remix of the two. And the next link is actually just the album cover or the single cover for Taylor Swift's collaboration with the viral TikTok rapper Ice Spice. And it's just such an unexpected kind of absurd collaboration. A lot of people don't like it. But I'm kind of neutral on it, but I think it's really interesting because it's this kind of merging of two artists that just is so unexpected. And I feel like would only happen in this age of AI that we're entering.
It's really good. For those of you that were able to join us for our New York event 2 weeks ago, we actually spent a good majority of the hour with industry leaders talking about the impact of AI, et cetera, on our industry in the coming years. And I think there were a lot of really good topics that came out of it. So hopefully, I know we'll turn that into a lot of content soon, but I think it's the most relevant topic for everyone right now. It's really crazy, the velocity of its influence in just the last 3 months alone.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's really interesting how these major changes or advancements in technology have an effect on culture in really unexpected ways.
Yeah.
So finally, I just wanted to share what I'm reading right now. This is not a new book, but I've always been really interested in the work of Ted Chiang, and this is the first time I'm getting to read one of his actual works. I've been reading a lot of sci-fi lately, and because for me, anything that speculates in the future or alternative realities just is really cool to me, which makes a lot of sense because we work in trend forecasting. But anyway, Ted is a writer and a thinker that I think is hugely important for our current world. He writes a lot for The New Yorker about the impacts of new technology on society. A lot of his recent articles have been about the potential impacts of AI on society. This collection of short stories was published in 2002, and it also contains the story called Stories of Your Life, or The Story of Your Life, which is the story that the movie Arrival is based on. And Arrival is one of my, it might be my favorite movie. It's one of my most favorite movies. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But I'll just read this short description of the book that's shown here on the website for you all. Stories of Your Life and Others delivers dual delights of the very, very strange and the heartbreakingly familiar, often presenting characters who must confront sudden change, the inevitable rise of automatons or the appearance of aliens, with some sense of normalcy. With sharp intelligence and humor, Chiang examines what it means to be alive in a world marked by uncertainty, but also by beauty and wonder. An award-winning collection from one of today's most lauded writers, Stories of Your Life and Others, is a contemporary classic. So I'm about 150 pages in. It's really cool. I'm just starting the story that the movie Arrival is based on, but the first story was about the Tower of Babylon and like these people trying to reach the heavens, but they learned that when they break through the heavens, they just ended up back on Earth. The second story is about this mathematician that goes insane after basically disproving all of mathematics in history. So every story is really just like mind-blowing and disorienting and really cool.
Great, we'll check it out. Yeah, that movie, I think it's from like 2016, right? It's from a while ago, but it's pretty cool. Arrival. Thanks, Nico. So next we are going to pass it over to Odessa. Hi, Odessa.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. So I am interning with Women's Wear this summer, and I have a couple of links that I found really interesting. The first is from a brand called Deserto, which is a Mexican-based brand started by two friends, Adrian and Marte, and they are creating biodegradable vegan leather out of cactus plants. So they've been around since 2019, but they've been generating some buzz over the last few weeks with their new Deserto Agave, which is made from agave fibers left over from Mexico's tequila industry. So really cool. This is an introduction video where they kind of explain their process. So yeah, take a look.
I'm about to show you this mattress that you can literally breathe through. It is made so that
I'm about to introduce you to two people who are doing the impossible. They're turning this into this. Say hello to Adrian and Marte.
Hi, I'm Adrian.
I'm Marte.
And we make vegan leather.
It all started because these two realized there's a problem. The fashion industry is the second largest polluter in the world, and leather is a staple in the fashion industry. Much of the world's leather comes from a cow, and that cow has to drink a lot of water. Up to 1,800 gallons. And then, leather has to be tanned, which requires even more water. And it's treated with toxic chemicals which hurt the environment and make it not biodegradable. This contributes to the 100 million tons of waste that the fashion industry creates.
We wanted to change all that.
Since Adrian worked with leather in the auto industry and Marte worked with leather in the fashion industry, they both were aware of the environmental impact and decided it was time to make a change. So they met and they talked.
We've got to do something.
Yes, we do.
A replacement for leather meant less harm to cows and other animals.
So, aren't there a lot of alternatives to leather already out there?
Yeah, sure. Fox leather, for instance.
Yes, man, but they're made out of plastic. It doesn't breathe and it has toxic chemicals.
And they're bad for the environment.
Since they knew plastic wasn't the answer, they started researching plant-based materials to use. And after a lot of brainstorming, the answer was right in front of them.
Cactus!
Cactus is the most abundant plant in Mexico. It's everywhere.
Cactus is actually good for skin and does not require a lot of water.
And also, since it absorbs carbon dioxide, it's good for environment.
Well, hold on, isn't it like killing the plant when you cut it?
No. It's just like a haircut.
Yeah, we just cut the mature leaves and then the small ones will grow in a matter of months.
Adrian and Marte left their jobs to dedicate 100% of their time and effort to the project. And after 2 years of financial, emotional, and technological struggles, they developed the perfect solution.
It was tough, but we knew it was possible.
In their patented process, you cut the leaves, clean them, mash it, dry it for 3 days, mix it with non-toxic chemicals, then shape it into any texture or color you want.
And that's it.
You get organic, biodegradable, and durable vegan leather.
It lasts up to 10 years.
It's flexible, breathable, and it doesn't stain. But how much?
About the same as animal leather.
These two entrepreneurs from Mexico are thinking big. They built a network to create more and more vegan leather. They want to make shoes, accessories, furniture, and leather seats for your car, all out of cactus.
Our hope is not just to help the environment, but also help to create jobs.
But for us to go from making leather out of this to this, we need to let the world know that there's something else out there. With these two, some cactus, and the world demanding vegan leather, they've realized their dream.
Cactus is green,
and so is the future.
Yeah!
I'm glad you shared that. I don't think Nia is on our call today, but our materials team has been sharing research with various manufacturers of cactus leather and whatnot, pineapple leathers and things like that for a few years now. So it's really exciting to see more innovation in that space.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I think the first time I ever heard of pineapple leather and other alternative leathers like fish leather was at FS when I was there a few years ago. So just really cool to see how sustainability is developing in terms of textiles and materials. But yeah, so my next link is about the Apple Vision Pro, which is set to release in early 2024. And it's the first major hardware launch for Apple in almost 10 years, with the last being in 2015 with the Apple Watch. But this device is meant to seamlessly blend the real world and the virtual world. And it comes at a steep price of $3,499, which is significantly higher than existing VR headsets on the market, like Meta's newly released version of their headset, Quest 3, which is set at $499. But the Apple Vision Pro is supposed to have a unique approach to VR and augmented reality and replicate the experience of using your phone for video calls, streaming, photography, note-taking, gaming, what have you, but right in front of you. So it's a more interactive UR experience or user experience that you have more control over. So there is some worry that maybe consumer appeal will be low because of the price tag and because it's a first generation device. It'll undoubtedly have some trial and error involved. But there are also people who believe that Apple's reputation for innovation and overcoming, skepticism in the past will help it. It'll be in its favor. So it'll be really interesting to see how consumers respond to this technology as we learn more about Apple Vision Pro and what it can do.
Yeah, it's definitely a clunkier design. And it's interesting. A lot of people pointed out that during the presentation, executives like Tim Cook were never even seen actually wearing it, which I think is really funny. But yeah, I mean, it looks like they have some really cool things. Oh yeah, Melissa put a link that's really funny from St. Hoax. That's just some satire around it. So save that link for you guys when it's done. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Thank you, Odessa. Appreciate your links. Okay, Mallory.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mallory Huron. I'm a senior strategist for beauty and wellness at FS, and we are back for, I think, the third year in a row with our annual sun care picks. We have a great shift coming up pretty soon, all about sun care. And if you're going to be at Cosmoprof North America in Vegas in July, we're also doing a whole presentation about sun care. So definitely a hot topic, no pun intended. And to start this one, we'll stay on this slide and just want to call out really quickly. Sephora has done this for years, but I always love to call out this product. It's their sun safety kit. Comes with a bunch of samples of some sunscreen, after sun care, also Hums Here Comes the Sun sun blocking supplement, which is super cool. And the big sell for this for me is that $25 of each of these kits goes to Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York City. So great in terms of, you know, helping with sun cancer, skin cancer research and sun safety awareness. So moving into the trends, we can go to the next slide. So tinted perfecting is really an area that we've seen heat up. Of course, with the dewy dumpling skin, clean skin, glowing skin trends, we're seeing this, you know, all natural shift, especially for summer in the Northern Hemisphere where everyone wants minimal clean makeup. These are two recent examples for the market: Alley-Oop Sensational Skin Tint and One Kind Solar Drops. Alley-Oop comes in a shade range, whereas One Kind is a universally flattering tint. Both of them offer a little bit of coverage along with potent skincare benefits and also sun protection. So a great multitasker, which we love. And moving on to the next one, these are really fun. These are sunscreen oils. On the left is Vacation, which is a brand that we've loved what they've been doing within the sun care space since their inception. They've got the super retro, really fun 80s marketing and brand identity aesthetic. And they launched their baby oil recently, and also Everyday Humans just dropped their glazed sunscreen glow oil. So these are really cleverly inverting that idea of tanning oils and baby oils from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, when of course it was just oil meant to accelerate the tanning process. But now, of course, we know better. We want to protect our skin from the sun, but we still love that classic baby oil texture, scent, and product experience. So really cleverly inverting the idea of using a product that was previously could be damaging to your skin to use. Now it has that great SPF 30 and you're supposed to use it to protect your skin, but you're still getting all that benefits and that sun awesomeness of that glazed donut beach look. And they're also lovely scents in these as well, which is adding to that sensorial element. So if you want that coconut tropical vibe, these are definitely going to add to that summer.
And Mallory, they have a really good ball boy candle too.
I know they've got a great, they also have one called, I think, Poolside, set like semi-block.
Oh boy, I think it's called,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
They're so cheeky with their product names. We love them.
It's good.
And then moving on to the next one. So glow screens, kind of aligning with the sheer tinted sunscreens, obviously glowing skin, super highlighted, super angelic, that very TikTok trendy glazed skin look is very popular as well. And these are two recent launches that we're highlighting for this. Kosas is Dream Beam SPF. Kosas, of course, hugely popular brand on TikTok and with Gen Z. Their clean beauty favorites are definitely full of good for your skin actives and also very environmentally aware. Iris and Romeo is also another brand that we love. So their weekend skin product is a vitamin C serum, SPF, and light universal skin tint in one. And they just launched a new shade of it called Warm Glow. So if you want more of a bronze sort of edge or effect to your skin finish, Warm Glow just dropped. So definitely check that out. And then for the last one is, of course, After Sun Care. We're highlighting Vacation again because they're just so fun. But After Sun Care is something that I think is kind of, no pun intended, but an afterthought for a lot of people. But the aloe and the cucumber and all these beneficial ingredients are really helpful for your skin after sun exposure. Even if you've properly used your SPF, the heat alone can irritate your skin. So these products are definitely great to help soothe. We're really interested with Pixi by Petra's After Sun Face Sheet Mask. Typically you see aloe gels, like in the Vacation Ink example on the right, but this is a sheet mask. So super interesting concept to really calm down that redness and maybe some of that warmth from your skin after the sun. Pro tip for all After Sun products like this, keep them in your fridge. And that way, when you come back from the beach or the pool or wherever, it's nice and cool and cooling to your skin. And another thing is just before I wrap up, the number one thing for all sun care is to reapply it. So I'm just going to put in my plug for proper sun care use, which is trending topic area, especially for sunfluencers and sun influencers that we'll be highlighting in this sun care report. So reapply every 2 hours and make sure you are reading the application dosages correctly, because most sunscreen is a 1 teaspoon dosage, which is a lot more than most people think. So please, yes, and also Nico is pointing out in chat, 2 finger lengths. Also, if you drizzle your sunscreen, 2 finger lengths is also typically 1 teaspoon. You'll see a lot of sun influencers doing the 2 finger lengths. So please use it correctly and stay safe out there this summer.
That's amazing. Mallory, I love when you do these. I feel like you're on the Today Show right now taking us. You're perfect at this. And even those of you who are in the Northeast like us with the smoke and from the Canada fires, even on a day like this, you have to wear your sunscreen. You shouldn't be outside anyway right now with the air quality, but if you are, you still have to wear it. Thanks, Mallory. Appreciate you. All right, guys, I'm going to go through my 3 links really quickly. So the first one was from the Robb Report, and just being in menswear, I'm always really fascinated by things like this. So this is an article about a lot of restaurants that whose servers and other employees have actually taken to working with various Savile Row brands and other things like that to create bespoke suits for their team members. The article mainly profiles 2 people, but the first one being a man named Dennis Friesen, whose family in Italy has been active in the hotel business for decades. So every time he was going into these big restaurants, he was super disappointed by the disconnect and the overall experience by how the staff actually were dressed. He thought that if you're spending lavishly on interiors, why would you skimp on the clothing that your employees wear, which kind of downgrades the total experience. And even a brand like Ralph Lauren, who has restaurants in New York and in Paris and Chicago, of course, you know, they took to doing that kind of aesthetic with their team members years ago. So the article goes through some examples. This one actually that you see here is from a restaurant called La Dolce Vita that actually, when it opened in the 60s, Frank Sinatra was an investor. So it's been around for a really long time. And, you know, the peak lapel jackets that the staff have worn for years got a little bit of a rehaul. So he used dead stock uniform buttons, which were discovered by the restaurant's new owners. I loved that. The jackets were also cut from this beige gold fabric that they specifically chose so that it would look really great under the windowless dining room lights. So I thought that was cool. And then I also just want to show you this one, which I loved, the brand Drake's, which is, you know, just iconic in menswear. So they released these really great corduroy items for the restaurant St. John. And in addition to things like Intarsia knit Shetland crew necks with the mascot of the restaurant, and pretty much everyone that works at the restaurant has some kind of like a cotton moleskin chore jacket, etc. With removable buttons for easy laundering. So this one here, they put the managers of the restaurant in these beautiful chore jackets and trousers made out of a midwell corduroy that they consider the perfect combination of comfort and strength. And I thought that was really well said. So there's just a lot of really great other examples in this article, but I loved the colors of the corduroy here, and being that it was a chore jacket, which is just kind of a perennial mainstay in menswear, I thought that that was really cool as well. So definitely makes sense. And my other 2 links are Barbie centric. I don't even need to click on the second one because there's really nothing to see, but I'll just take you through. Apparently, it came out this week that when they were making the Barbie movie in 2022, they basically depleted almost the entire world supply of this very specific fluorescent pink paint that they use. And the brand is called Roscoe, which is really well known with deep ties to Hollywood for film and TV productions. But basically, it was just like a perfect storm of things when they were filming this movie in 2022. Of course, There was this, because of the pandemic, there was the global supply chain issue. And also where they make the paint in Texas, they were recovering from a deep freeze. And so it damaged a lot of vital materials that they used to create this very specific shade of fluorescent pink. So it's just really funny that it came out this week that this pink, pretty much they depleted. They took every bit that the company had. So I love that. And then my other article is just a really fun eye candy for you. This is from Architectural Digest, and they take us into the actual set of the Barbie dream houses. And there were some really fun things to show you here. So they said, of course, there's no walls and no doors. That came from Greta Gerwig, of course, the director. She said, dream houses assume that you never have anything that you wish was private. There's no place to hide. And I'll take you through some imagery here while I tell you what the inspiration was. So most of the inspiration for the dream house in the movie was basically Palm Springs mid-century modernism, which of course includes Richard Neutra's 1946 Kaufman House, which is iconic. Also a lot of photography by Slim Aarons. So everything about the era was spot on. They said that they really wanted to make Barbie real through this kind of unreal world. So in addition to the pink that I just mentioned being used on everything, they really also took into consideration the ratio. If you look at like a actual Barbie Dreamhouse toy, the dolls almost come right up to the ceiling, and like the ratio doesn't make any sense. Like in 3 steps, they're across the room. So they kind of kept that and incorporated it into the set design, which I love. It was just really ridiculously fun. They also took inspiration from some of the other models, like there was a Bohemian 1970s Barbie dream house, which even had Trompe l'oeil Tiffany lamps. There was a Queen Anne Victorian mansion from the year 2000 with Philippe Starck lounge chairs. So they just kind of incorporated a lot of that really cool stuff into the actual movie. This is, of course, the closet, which features toy box display cases. And I just wanted to end by saying this. I love that they were saying it's very definitely a house for a single woman, noting that the first dream house, which was a cardboard cutout, fold out, was sold in 1962. And at that time, it was rare for a woman to own her own home. So of course, they still stick with it. Barbie was the ultimate feminist icon, that she owned this dream house. So it'll be really fun, I think, to see this movie, if anything, just from the aesthetic and all of the various dream house vibes. So just wanted to show that. And I love that Architectural Digest talked about it as well. I'm going to move on to Chelsea. Hey, Chelsea.
Hi everyone. I'm Chelsea. I'm a senior strategist on our youth team, and happy Pride Month. I wanted to share a TikTok that I came across from someone I follow that kind of explains how, while in this month we are obviously celebrating and there's a lot of joy and pride in the strides that have been taken, it's also really important to remember that there is still a lot of work to be done, and there are people in the community who may not be as protected and safe. And so I just liked the way that Nikki put it in this TikTok. It's about 2 minutes long. And it's just a good reminder of things to focus on while also celebrating the joy and pride of this month. So we can just go ahead and watch it.
Hi friends, happy Pride Month. How are we doing? Are we surviving? June is here, and I just feel like we need to reflect and ground ourselves back into what actually matters. I will continue to have this conversation with people because I don't think they get it when I say that trans women are dying, but they are dying. Trans women of color are being slaughtered in the streets, and no one is talking about it. And now not only are trans women dying, trans children are about to be dying because of all of the legislation that is accosting trans people's right to their autonomy and to their right to exist in public space, which is literally why we have gotten here, because people don't think that we exist around them. Baby, we are everywhere. We have been in every culture, in every century, and every, I bet, universe. You're welcome. As reassuring as it is to have as much perceived support as we do in this month alone as a community is wonderful. However, I'm not really sure that it's the people who need the support that are getting it this Pride Month or any other Pride Month. Nikki, what do? We want to help, but we don't know how to help. Thank you for asking. I'm going to show you. Over on my Instagram, there is a highlighted story right here that is actually a Google Doc that you can share with friends, repost on Twitter, donate to yourself if you want to. A list that is going to continue to grow as I add to it. You are welcome to send me any organizations in your area that are meaningful to you. These are mutual aid funds, non-for-profits, and organizations that are going to be benefiting the people who actually need it this Pride season. Organizations that are going to benefit and empower Black and brown trans people as well as trans children. With that said, there are some organizations that are going to help the trans community as a whole. However, I wanted to really feature all of the ones that I could find and had access to in my awareness that are going to help the people who are going to need it the most. Because unfortunately, the reality is the 10% donation that you are going to be making by purchasing a rainbow adorned product is not going to impact the same way this is. The list that I provided you are grassroots organizations that are run often by the communities that they're trying to serve. We are not all free until everyone is free, and that means that we are not all free until Black trans women are free. Get into it. Thank you for listening. Please share the doc. If nothing else, happy Pride Month to everyone. Please be safe. And I know that we'll get through this too. Love you.
So obviously that's very powerful. Just wanted to share the resource list is also linked there. So consider donating. There are localized ones as well. A couple that I follow are Glitz, For the Girls, and the Okra Project. But there are tons of resources here. So consider just looking into those. And just a good reminder to consider everybody and think about the entire community, and also happy Pride. It's also great to support the bigger brands that are making Pride products as well. And so just do what you can if you feel compelled, and just wanted to share that. So happy Pride.
Thank you, Chelsea. This is so great that you shared this. Glitz is an amazing organization. I too just wanted to point that out. Pride is so important. And my husband and I took our almost 3-year-old son to his second Pride here in our town in Connecticut last weekend. We're going to go to another one this weekend. And it's so great to be able to have him be around other families that look like his. And so it's so simple. It's such a simple event and so simple in its intention, but it really does mean a lot to so many. And when you see so many young children and teenagers who maybe don't have a place otherwise to be around other people like them, a Pride Festival is that intention. So I'm really glad that you shared this. Thank you, Chelsea. Okay, Melissa.
Hi, everyone. That was such a great resource, Chelsea. I can't wait to dive in. I have something else on a positive note, and this is nice in considering what Odessa had shared on the vegan cactus leather, because it's about sustainability and it's potentially a really big move for the European Union. You may have heard that the Parliament voted to back recommendations that address excessive production and consumption of fashion. So essentially, it's supposed to force the industry to operate more sustainably. There's some really good stats in this article. Of course, there's a lot of reasoning behind why this needed to happen, such as there are 5.8 million tons of textiles that are discarded every year in the European Union landfill. They estimate that clothes are worn about 7 to 8 times before they're disposed. And of course, we know that the industry is one of the least regulated. So they're also positioning this as an initiative to help consumers make responsible choices. So it's not only on, the companies behind it. They also aimed here to define what fast fashion is, so that they defined as anything that's low cost, low quality, with a very high production volume. They're trying to ban the destruction of unsold textiles, which is also really huge in Europe. I think it's great for the European Union because it's kind of like they're leading the way. They include 27 member states. It still needs to be these new requirements that they've approved, that they need to be negotiated with all of those member states before they become law. So it's likely that this is going to take a couple of years before it's implemented. But I think that it's a step in the right direction. The article also called attention to France and Germany as currently having due diligence requirements. In the US, it also mentioned that the states of New York and California passed bans on toxic chemicals that are used in waterproof outerwear. So something to look forward to and hopefully get a better grasp on in the coming years. And then my next one, I have an article and then I also have a TikTok link too. And this is about how Skims became one of the most duped brands ever. Of course, we know that Skims represents loungewear basics. So anything from like your sweats to your ribbed shirts, leggings in generally muted colors. Basically any stretchy tee or classic bodysuit could tap into this. If you want to go back to the links, Michael, we could click on the TikTok for #SkimsDupe. It mentioned some highlights such as after the Skims Cozy collection debuted, one day afterwards, Fashion Nova launched a Fuzzy Fits line, which, you know, that kind of started the ball rolling of these Skims dupes. It's saying, you know, products from H&M, like a long sleeved white t-shirt could be considered that. You could just kind of scroll through, even like there's Target represented on there from like basic rompers. It even mentioned Italian intimates brand Intimissimi, who had this collection called Ultralight with Cashmere. And it was 5 years ago when they launched it, but it just went viral this year because it's known as the best Skims dupe. It's interesting in the article that they also interview some more indie brands such as Brooklyn designer Vanessa Celestin. And that kind of generated more of a following for some indie brands. There's also somebody that they quoted in the article, April B, who's an owner of Second Look. And she said she likes that, you know, her customers liked it. They're using the hashtag, and she says that loungewear is loungewear no matter where you're buying it from. She did have a couple concerns if people won't support her brand, if they think that she's the one that's copying Skims. But it's interesting to note because in a very short period of time, I think Skims has become kind of this generic term for loungewear itself, because it's been able to reach the masses quite quickly. It does also represent, I think, some difficulty for newer lounge brands entering the marketplace.
Wow, it just keeps going and going.
Yeah. And so my next article, this one, I think it's a fun one. It's essentially speaking to how food is the new luxury for Gen Z and why. It's essentially addressing some fashion brands that are aligning more with food and that particularly appear to Gen Z. So two of the big ones are the Erewhon smoothies, which of course are local to
so
us.
Expensive.
What?
So expensive, their smoothies.
They're $25 and it's interesting, like the article actually, I think they linked somewhere else. You know what, you could go back to the share page too, because there's not much to look at in the article. And I have another TikTok link to the hashtag Erewhon Haul. But they had kind of said that people are literally taking part-time jobs so that they could afford going into Erewhon and buying smoothies like 5 days a week. Which is just crazy. Another one that they cited, Joe and the Juice, is of course global. They also have a really big following on TikTok. And another one that I didn't know, Depop, who sold to Etsy last year, I think, they started Delli, DELLI, food marketplace for these independent food producers. And that's also attributing to this kind of like exclusive artisan food that's now a luxury, especially for Gen Z. And the way that they do it is kind of like drops in streetwear. So they've collaborated, like Gani collaborated with Momo Kombucha. They've also they had like this status birthday cake food trend that Delli kind of cited in the article. Something else that I think attributes to this, not as much as Erewhon, because I feel like their packaging isn't like crazy amazing or really good, but they mentioned in the article about good packaging and kind of like these colorful eye-catching labels. For anybody that's in Los Angeles area, or I think they're in Texas, there's this other one that they didn't mention that's called La La Land Kind Cafe. And it is such a scene here. Like the one in Calabasas is like all day long because they've got this like really cheery lemon yellowy branding, and it's like so spot on. It's really nice on the inside, and it's total scene. The last one that they mentioned that I thought was a good reference for this was the jewelry brand Mejuri. They had a whole TikTok campaign that positioned food as a luxury with pictures of ice cream and like slices of cake. And they said that the alignment just felt right for the TikTok audience. So like they're holding food in like all of the rings and, you know, bracelets and jewelry products, but it just, you know, resonates with their customer. And they're also hosting a pop-up with gelato in London this summer, I believe.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know Erewhon, if you're ever in LA, be sure to check one out. It's like, it makes Whole Foods look like Walmart.
Yes, absolutely.
And they also do a lot of interesting collaboration smoothies with people like Chris Appleton. They just had one with him. And
yep, the Hailey Bieber one was another huge one.
Yeah, it's really funny, but it's all about the marketing, right? Just Thanks, Melissa. Good links. And we're going to end today's show and tell with Peter. Hey, Peter.
Hi, Michael. Hi, everyone. My name is Peter Kachkash. I'm a pattern graphics analyst here at FS. And my first link today is a bit of a blast from the past. It's something that I stumbled across when I was researching, and I thought it was super charming. So I wanted to share it with you all. I'm just going to read through some of the notes here. If you want to do like a soft, slow scroll, maybe through the page. So what I'm talking about is telephone chairs, otherwise known as gossip benches, which I love the name gossip bench. I think it's fantastic. They were first invented not long after the invention of the telephone in 1870. And supposedly it was invented by a French carpenter for the sole purpose of providing a place to sit comfortably while talking on the phone. And in the next decade, it became a prevalent part of most European and early American homes furnishing. And they did make a comeback in the 1950s and the 1960s when homemakers started to embrace the nostalgic aspects of country decor again. What I love that each version of this gossip bench looks totally unique, but the most common version that you can see here consists of two seats kind of conjoined in a serpentine shape so that the sitters can have discreet conversations that I thought was just really interesting. When I was reading about these, I found that these kind of telephone chairs were considered the pinnacle of sophistication and style during the Gilded and Victorian age. And if you're someone who's a fan of vintage furniture, you might not see a lot of these on the market because they are considered a collector's favorite. So I loved, of course, like in today's everyday life, we don't really need these pieces in our life, but I do really want one because I think they're fabulous. And also from a Prints and Patterns perspective, I love all the aged kind of upholstery and all the prints that are coming through there. So just a really cool item. It's starting to go get very popular on TikTok. So I think it's going to be nearly impossible to get my hands on one, but I'm still very inspired by them. So just wanted to share that with you all. And then my next link, I feel like Odessa, Melissa, and I are on the same wavelength this week because I'm also talking about materials and sustainability for a little bit. More specifically about seaweed streetwear. I came across these designers called Tengai Melinand and Trifa Livtoria, who collaborated on this kind of collection of clothes that were stitched from harvested and preserved Icelandic seaweed for this exhibition called Seaweed Works. And essentially what Seaweed Works is, it's a project that hopes to spotlight the uses of seaweed from art and fashion to design and technology. I love this little bit of the article where it says that the designer conceived his pieces. He waded through the shallow water in Iceland. His jeans rolled up around his knees and palmed the strings of seaweed his hands caught. He hung them in his workshop to dry, and as soon as the strands of seaweed were free from water and moisture, he tailored and repurposed them into a button jacket, a high-waist skirt, a pair of plaid trousers, a handbag, and pinstriped over jackets. I love how closely it resembles leather, at least to the eye. And I'm just really intrigued. I think it's a great, super creative way to innovate through material, through natural means. I think it was the brand Pangaea that a couple of seasons ago experimented with making t-shirts out of seaweed. And ultimately, I know that coastal foraging is a really hot topic at the moment. So it's fitting that we're looking to the gifts of coastal nature while we're making all these gorgeous garments. I think there's, if you go back to the links, there should be another link there. There should be a really short video about the production process of these tailored pieces.
You don't know, surrender, temptation. Slow water, missing wallows, shooting star, bright shadow, got a power outage. Go on the front cover, new story gets old.
So yeah, very interesting. I do wonder whether there's a scent or an odor or anything associated with these pieces, because I know that seaweed does have a signature smell, but I'm sure there's a process to kind of eliminate any of that if needed. But I just love the tailoring of all of these. I thought, Michael, you might like these because of the strong tailoring element here. I think they're really beautiful.
Yeah, the weight that it actually has, it's so sturdy. I can't remember if it was I can't refer back to our links. I don't know if it was from our April or May show and tell, but someone else did share something about kelp and seaweed being turned into material and fabric as well. So it's great you had this, because this is, we should definitely take notice of it, and it's important. But yeah, this is a great, you can see from the silhouette that it actually does turn out really well for shaping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Thanks, Peter. I think that is all of our links, and we are 5 minutes early, everyone. We'll see you again. I believe we are going to be doing our next one on Wednesday, July 5th, which is the day after the holiday here in the US. As of now, that is when we will do our next one. We'll follow up with you again with the document from all of today's links. Of course, Chelsea's links, if you want to check into those organizations, will be on that doc as well. And Kelly, you'll be able to find the recording. The recording will be sent along with the email later this week. And you can always find all recordings of these webinars on our YouTube channel. And if you're a client, you can find them under the webcast portion of our website. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thanks to our FS team for joining us. Great links. And have a great June. Happy summer, happy Pride. We'll see you next month. Thank you, everyone.